The hokey pokey.
Vincent, you're on Facebook right now.
We're on live.
Okay, so we're at BFI South Bank tonight with the team behind
After Louie.
Okay, guys, so if you can introduce yourselves to the camera and tell us what your role is within the production.
Sarita Choudhury, and I play Mags or Maggie.
I'm Zach Booth, I play Braden.
I'm Anthony Johnston, I play Lucas, and I'm the co-writer.
And I'm Vincent Gagliostro, and I directed this film.
And wrote it and inspired
And
it.
And wrote it and inspired it. What else did I do?
Sell.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about the film.
About it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, give us the log line.
A log line?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think I ever came up with a log
It's
line.
time
Bryce,
to.
did we come up with a log line?
You're
I
live.
don't know if I came up with a log
Yeah,
line.
now's the moment.
But, what? Did you say something?
Yeah, we said something over and over.
What did you
After
say?
Louie is exploring the intergenerational divide.
Oh, right, the
between
intergenerational
gay men that
divide.
came up on either side of the
Yes.
AIDS epidemic, and that's pretty much
That's
the
pretty
roots.
Very
That's
good.
pretty
Right?
That was very good.
That's the
Well,
seed of it.
That's the seed of it, you know. And yeah, you know, that troubled, you know, very troubled artist, activist, you know, who you know, mixes a cocktail, I guess. Politics, sex, and art,
Wow. That's very good.
and commerce, I guess.
Our good buddy and star of the film, Alan, couldn't be here, Alan Cumming.
Who is amazing.
He's amazing in it. He's so beautiful
so
in it.
good in it.
He
He
really,
plays
really
a
is.
man in New York in the present who's like, you know, struggling with everything he's seen, being in New York since the 80s. And
And it must have been really intimidating for him because he was playing me.
yeah, pretty much.
I just
So this
realized
guy's
that
life.
tonight.
It was very scary. Not as intimidating for me.
No, because you
Like
weren't
myself.
playing me. You were playing you. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the tone of the piece, because it's quite a sad film, but it's also kind of positive, right? Can you tell us about the balance
I mean,
of that?
you know, the reason why it lifts us because that was my goal. My goal was the message to the youngins and the oldins, my community, were, you know, it was a dare. And to my community, to the older generation, it was a dare to dream again. And to the younger generation, it was just a dare to just dream.
And can you tell us about the casting of it? About the casting, about how you assembled the cast, and who plays the roles.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, we knew each other for 8 or 9 years. Vincent had just a seed of an idea of what he wanted to make.
Right.
And then we sort of came together and apart as the script progressed, and then the movie took off, I guess, when you guys got
When
out.
I think the original script was probably about 4 hours long, so I'm saving that for the opera.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, and then it really the script really began to take a narrative shape when Anthony and I began working together, and he could figure out what the hell I was trying to do, you know, and make some sense out of it. And yeah, so that's kind of, you know, how Zach got involved, you know, became part of the film. As he said earlier, you know, I took a video camera and gave him After Louie to start reading at a diner, and yeah, he had no idea what I was doing with it, and I had no idea what I was doing with it, but it ended up here tonight, you know, and casting Maggie was a really important moment for me, and because I had made a decision about who Maggie was, and Maggie, you know, we see Sam so much through. We learned so much about Sam through that first scene with he and Maggie, and she exposes Sam to us, you know, out of her love for him. You know, Jeffrey and Maggie and Sam and William were all activists together, and they were like, so. And Maggie was kind of the glue that kept that group together in Sam's mind, and that's why the betrayal in his mind that happens over, you know, in the Chinese dinner scene is so powerful because we find out what it all really means to Sam. And so, and Maggie, you know, is, you know, as all of the characters in the film are kind of come from people, my friends, you know, and there were two very specific, you know, women activists that were very close friends of mine who became together to become Maggie, and you know, and Anthony and I both, you know, knew Sarita, and I was telling Sarita the story about Anthony kept seeing her around town, and it was like, yeah, Sarita, you know, we called the casting agent, and it was like, you know, okay, you know, she's got to say yes, you know, and she did it.
I said yes immediately.
Yeah. So, yeah, so kind of the casting, and then the casting just came, you know, from, you know, like Joey Arias and David Drake, who plays William, and Everett Quinton. They're really from very much my past. You know, I've been going to the Everett's theater thing since the, you know, the late 60s, early 70s, and Joey Arias, I've known since 1976, and you know, and you know, because one of the things was that the film is about community loss, community people searching for community. You know, it was kind of a coming of age story for all of them. You know, all looking for their place and who they are in that place once they find it. You know?
This is the first kind of significant age-related film in quite a long time, where it's kind of front and center. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about how you brought that into the narrative and how you feel that the kind of representation of AIDS within cinema has changed over the last couple of decades, where your film fits into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that where it fits into, I think, the space of the present. It's you know, it was very, very important for me to, you know, reignite the conversation, but also the film is so much about, you know, came from a place that it was so much about what wasn't being said, what wasn't being talked about. First, my own generation to each other, we stopped talking to each other. And then all we did was started to complain about how the younger generation knows nothing about what we went through, and blah, 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 blah. And so there became this sense of abandonment, and a lot of my friends were were turning to drugs and crystal meth and prostitution and all that kind of thing, and I just felt like when I looked around and said, you know, what happened to us, and where is everybody, and that I know where they are, and I'm going to give them voice. So I think that what this film, I'm hoping to do with this film is kind of give voice to, give HIV and AIDS a voice today, because, I mean, just this year, I went to 3 memorials. People are still dying, and people are still actually dying of HIV, you know. And so it's been an interesting journey in talking to people and talking to my friends about what I was up to as I was asking them for money, you know, stuff like that. And everybody just kind of, at first said, Vincent, why aren't you doing a documentary? I said, because I want to tell the truth.
Whoa. But what Vincent said is really, it's definitely that. Like, the first thing that you said when you were answering this was that, yeah, it's about the present, and it really is so much about the now. And I think, you know, you asking about the progression of AIDS films, if you can call them that, I obviously wasn't around back in the time of the epidemic. But what was so exciting for me getting on board with this project and collaborating with Vincent is that it really is about the now and the present, and it is about you know, stuff that may be just starting to be talked about in the stories that are being told now, in terms of like a serodiscordant or like magnetic relationship that Zach and my characters have, or, you know, to talk about being I'm blanking on the word. You know it. You ask him if Sam knows what it is.
Oh,
when you
undetectable.
Undetectable, right? That's what Facebook Live is. You don't remember undetectable. But yeah, all these things that are very much about like the very present. And I think that it was so exciting to get to work with Vincent someone who does come from a different place than me, and to connect about our different points of view based on who we are. And really, that's what the film is about, that intergenerational, sometimes butting heads, and sometimes doing that enough that you maybe can crack something open and hear and see each other and really learn.
Like Alan put it once, he said very simply, it's about these two generations who just aren't getting each other.
Can I get each of you to tell us what the film means to you?
When I saw it tonight, I have to say, I feel so emotional because I realize this is also Vincent's journey in figuring out what Vincent thinks as it's happening. Live Facebook, and the way Anthony and his generation joined in that with the story and the script writing. And I feel like even though I'm in it, I was watching it almost like it was a live piece. And I don't know why that is. There's an element in there that's not finished, which I think is kind of brave to do a film like that.
Yeah, to me it's really just, for me it was a celebration of Vincent, honestly. And I'm just really proud to be part of the story that I've known that he's wanted to tell for a long time. And I'm incredibly proud of him for muscling it to the finish line. But thinking about him and the way I know him, I'm not at all surprised that he did.
And what I well, for me it's very interesting because aside from everything that everybody has said and that I've said about film and what it all is about and what it means and everything, as an artist, as the French say, a plasticien, I was very interested in telling this story through that, in a way that could only be told through film. I have a lot of, I've been watching, films since I could see, I think, clearly, and so for me, film, this film is as much about the story, it's as much about the art of the medium as an artist as it is about the story that I wanted to tell, and how could I tell this story and give the viewer some new way of looking in, and listening and putting those sounds together with the images and challenging them to kind of, it's like, oh, gosh, this is, I'm going to say, something that they've never seen before. But really, using the medium really was very much in the front of my mind as I was crafting the film, and in the editing room especially, which we really had fun with. And I had an editor, Maria Cataldo, who is just such a brilliant editor, and really helped me dig in and find the story and find me and find who I am as an artist, and apply it onto the film and make it plastic and make it, it's like, am I crazy with all these birds and the beach and the this and the that and the blue faces and all of that? And everyone, the more I put it, everyone's going, yeah, Vincent, that's you. That's what we're waiting for, So that's what the film is for me.
It means so much to me. It means a lot to me. A huge, huge, big lot. Yeah, it was like about 3 years ago when I met Vincent, and he told me what he was working on, and it wasn't long after that one of the producers, Bryce, asked if I would come on board as a co-writer, and it's been such an incredible education for me, and it has been really, really personal. I think for everyone involved, it's a really personal project, and it's meant a lot to see it.
Okay, so the last question is what it means to all of you guys to be showing the film here at Flare.
Well, we're so excited.
Well,
Thrilled. It's an honor.
This is the world premiere. So
This is the world
Vincent
premiere.
chose,
And London has
and
been
they
very
chose.
much, for a good part of my adult life, very much kind of a second city, for me. And I have a lot of friends here, and it was just great to have a world premiere in a city that I knew well, that I wasn't raised in or really lived in. and have them all here as well. And so
Festival's incredible.
And the festival,
If you're sitting at
everybody-
home and you're anywhere close by, you still have a week to get more than that, to get
Yeah.
here and see films.
And
you
even
can
if
see
it
After
says sold
Louie.
out, come.
Yeah, if it says sold out, just come and stand. They'll get you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a seat. And it's just a really wonderful vibe here. The
Yeah.
community is really incredible. So you just got to come check it out if you can.
Yeah.
That's great. If you've got anything else to say, just say it now and say goodbye. That's the end of the...
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you.